You're listening to the B4evaKool podcast. My name is Rex45. This evening we have Smitty from Smit Shot Racing in the
What
building.
up?
I want to thank you for coming on the show and talking about your race experience and riding experience. So, I really appreciate that. So, welcome to the show, man. How you doing tonight?
Thanks for the welcome. I'm doing pretty good, man. What about you?
Man, I can't complain. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to beat the heat, but I think I got to embrace this Florida weather, and it is what it is. But
It's hot, yeah.
yeah, it's hot, and so I don't know how it is. I don't know how often you ride, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I'm trying to figure out like what is a good bike to ride in Florida or in a hot weather mostly.
All of them, man. They're all good bikes to ride, man.
Dude,
There's no bad bike to ride, man.
my Ducati's pretty hot, man. I don't think so.
They go faster, man.
Well, there is that. There's definitely that for sure. But yeah, below 50, you definitely feel
The
it.
heat,
And,
yeah. I know what you mean.
and we're like on my R6, I've had a Honda VFR, I've had an Aprilia. These bikes didn't kick off the
Okay.
same heat, you know what I'm saying? But for whatever reason, like the Ducatis, man, they give off a lot of heat for some reason.
I've heard that, but have not ridden one yet, so I don't know. But
Yeah. All right,
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, we're gonna put you on one. Maybe not in August, but maybe maybe in October.
Okay, let me know when, man. Let me know when. I'm down. So
That's what's up, man. So let's talk about how you got into riding and racing, and you know what I'm saying, and what's that journey's been like, and for you, and as the show go on, we'll talk more.
So my passion for bikes started when I was way young, like a little kid, back in Brooklyn, New York. That's where I'm from. So growing up, you see all the older dudes on bikes doing wheelies, having their bike nights on the corner and things like that. And for me, that was cool. That's kind of, the whole life that I thought was all about bikes. In terms of racing, I had no clue racing was a thing, honestly.
Right.
Like racetracks, all that stuff. And, in the city, that's things city kids don't think about. We play football and basketball, and we don't know shit about racing at all. So
you got a wicked jump shot.
Oh no, I'm trash, man. I could block shots and that's it. I'm just tall for no reason.
All right. You listen, Dennis Rodman, man, he made a lot of money.
I'm Dennis Rodman. I can't score, but I make sure that that you don't score. So
there you go. I'm probably similar to that. So I'm
okay.
my defense is definitely better than my offense.
Right.
So okay, then that's what's up. So yeah. So continue. Sorry.
Oh no. So the bike thing. So my first bike was a Honda CBR F4i back in 01.
Okay.
But mind you, this is probably when I was 23 years old, because back when I was a kid at 19 years old, I had no money. So I finally got a job. I joined, the military. First thing I do, first year, I bought a bike. Okay. So started riding, started crashing, doing dumb shit, trying to do wheelies like the guys I saw when I was a kid. And didn't end well. So I totaled that bike twice. Well, I totaled that same bike twice. I got two new ones. Same exact bike, probably in the first like 6 months. So pure just being reckless,
Okay.
And coworker, suburb guy, how about trying to do a track day? Like, track day, like, what's that?
Right.
Take your bike to the track and ride it. I'm like, what? Okay, cool. So I did that and did a race school, crashed, and like, this ain't for me, probably.
I didn't have a similar example as far as crashing, but I definitely had a moment when it was like, is this really for me?
Yeah.
And I had to come to terms with that, like, because there's I don't know if it's everyone, but there's a moment where you question, like, am I making the right decision? You know what I mean? And I continued on, so I felt like I did. So
okay.
So yeah.
Well, so me now, so I had doubt, but I said, you know what? I'm gonna try and do a track day or even race. So there's a school called the Ed Barger Race School.
Okay.
This is back in like the early 2000s. I signed up for it. I did a race school in a little track called Talladega, a little small track beside the big NASCAR track, Talladega.
Not the GP, a different one.
Yeah, same one, but it's a little small one. Yeah.
Yeah. That track is small.
Yeah, I did the race school there. And lo and behold, I probably put in 3 laps and crashed during the race school. So school was done, whatever. I go home, bike smashed up again. But but still doing the school, you get like a cert.
Right.
It says, you passed the race portion
Right.
or not.
Right.
So mine said fail, right? Or it said like you didn't pass. So what I do now, I go home, I scan it to back then you had scanners back then, right?
Right.
So I put it to a scanner, then took that file, go into Photoshop, then change the pass to fail, right?
Right.
So now it says that I passed. So now I'm lying my ass off, right? So then I took that form, my forgery form. That was 20 something years old, just 20 years ago. So don't cheat, kids, but
statute of limitation ran out.
Yeah, don't do that, So then I sent that form off to CCS and got my actual license now to race.
Right.
Now, mind you, I have a race license, right?
Yeah.
But I've probably done 10 laps on the track. That's it. So that's it, the most.
Hey, listen, man.
Yeah.
I've been close to that. So yeah.
Okay. So then I moved up to Michigan for a job, whatever. And I signed up for my first race at Gingerman Raceway.
Okay.
Signed up for the first race, I don't know what's going on. I go there, looking all like, okay, kind of just did the tech inspections, things like that. And first race, I crashed in the first turn. That was it, man. So my race career was real short,
I gotta ask though, are you crashing the same way all the time, or is just like one side is a low side and a high side? And
they were all low sides.
Okay.
No high sides at all. But it was like just me just not knowing how to ride on the track. I'm sitting up, mad upright, trying to turn my whole body. It was horrible looking. You know what I'm saying? It was just ugly. So that was that. And my kids, like, you know what? I got 3 kids at home. Like, why?
Right.
So then my kids, my son was around 6, 7, 8 years old at the time. He got a dirt bike, got into that. Then I became a track dad. So it was just cool seeing my kids ride. And I enjoyed that, kind of put the whole riding thing, behind myself. I rode dirt bikes with them, but that was it. So then as they got older, they kind of had their own lives, their own friends. My son, he's in the West Coast now, doing the military thing. Daughter's in college on campus. And my youngest daughter, she left for boot camp like last month. So I'm like kid free.
Right. So
a couple years ago.
So riding with them, I didn't hear you crashing. You didn't mention anything.
Oh, not at all. I was going slow. I was going real slow back then. So I was just putting around with the kids. Yeah. So no more crashing. Right. But probably 2 years ago, I'm like, yo, my kids are like grown. They don't need me that much. I'm getting back into it. So I bought a bike, 600 RR.
Okay.
For like the first 2 months, I rode on the street just to get, the bike feeling back up. Yeah. All Hondas. That's it. You ride ready. You know what I'm saying? So got my 600 RR, rode around for like a month or 2, but the most on the street, just and being safe. You know what I'm saying? Not speeding, doing dumb shit, right?
Right.
And I did some track days. I did a couple of race schools, the right way. I did California Superbike School, levels 1, 2, and 3.
Yep.
And then I did race school Europe with Troy Corser out in Spain. Okay. And that's pretty cool also.
Yeah.
And probably that year alone, 2021 or 20, I forgot what year it was. I probably did 10 track days that year.
Wow.
And I felt, way better, confident wise, learning how to ride, the right way. So then I got.
It's funny how being older, you make, sound decisions.
Way better choices. Yeah. Because I'm 47. So.
Yeah.
So I got my license through Vera. And I started racing back then. So now I'm here racing with Vera, novice, and that's it. So here I am.
No, I've seen guys and probably gals that, have gone out, crashed once, and that bike is in the garage until they decide to sell it. You crashed a few times, a
lot.
You still got your kids into riding and stuff like that. So you still pretty much stayed on 2 wheels. Like, for you crashing, did that deter you much, or maybe just you didn't go as fast with around the kids?
Nah, the crashing part was more so money, because you think I was an E3 back, probably making 19 grand per year back in the military.
Right.
So I couldn't afford to fix it.
Right.
Because you crash on the track with a street bike. Right. It's on you. There's no insurance. You know what I'm saying? So So I was like, now I'm broke, man. So it didn't work out too well.
Got you.
Money wise.
Right. Now, what has it been like for you getting back into the track and now doing it the right way and stuff like that? Is it, I mean, granted, you did some races back then, but was it enough for you to remember going back out now, or is it just kind of like completely new for you when you went out?
Totally new. Because back then, I had no clue what I was doing at all. Zero clue. You just out there riding by the seat of your pants. But now it's like I have better training through the race schools, and like even back then, there was no YouTube.
Right.
Because YouTube is a whole lot of info. Some good, some bad, but you just pick and choose, what you want to learn. And you watch some videos of pro riders explaining how to trail break and just things I had no clue existed back then.
Right. I mean, it has its own language in a sense.
Yeah, it does. It does.
So you definitely gotta immerse yourself in it.
Yeah. So it's a totally different experience now than back then.
Right. Now, what has the competition been like for you? Getting out there and stuff like that.
Man?
Do you find yourself? Well, in more senses, do you find yourself that you're being more competitive, or do you are you just because some of us are out here just to just do the laps, have some fun, not necessarily care where they place and stuff like that, and just really appreciate that. Others are they're trying to win titles.
Okay, so to say I'm trying to win a title, being realistic, I can't because I'm a novice, but I'm a mid rider to the back of the pack rider.
Right.
So there's no title for me back there at all. But yes, I do want to get better each race, and I have goals when I race. Like each goal, I want to pass at least 3 people. And my theory, with racing, like so let's say you have like 20 guys on the grid, right?
Right.
You're only racing probably 5 guys, to probably 3 behind you and 3 in front of you.
Right.
Those 10 guys ahead of you.
After 5
laps, for you.
Not 5 laps, 5 turns.
They're gone, right?
It'll be hard.
So you have your own race back there. So right. I'm just trying to focus on the 2 or 3 guys ahead of me, past them. And if I do that, I feel okay. But yes, every year I do want to get better than last year. And I hate being in the back, honestly.
Oh, listen, it's no fun. Trust me.
It's not.
I spent a few years at the back.
Oh, okay.
I spent a few.
Yeah.
You know what I
mean? So yes.
And
you want to get better.
Yeah, I had a when they talk about going from one bike to the other, it's a big difference. And as we were talking off here about about the heat and stuff like that. For me, going from a twin to an inline 4 took a while to get used to because I wasn't used to revving at 14,000, 15,000 RPMs and stuff like that. On the twins, 10,000, you're banging through the gears. That's, you know what I mean.
Okay.
And so for me, it took a while to get used to that, and not just the characteristics of the engine and stuff like that. And so so for a few years. Definitely, you sat at the back, and then I got into an accident, and so
on the track, on the street.
I got an accident on the street, like the day of the track. I was supposed to go racing that weekend, gotcha. and so I spent 9 days in the hospital and stuff like that. So then that also getting back to form took a while. So I also had it was probably like almost close to 4 years of hanging out in the back before I could find my feet. And so this is like we're talking about 2016 to probably like 2019, where it was just like it was like, when you look at Moto GP and these top races, when you see the guys in the back and stuff like that, and one season they could be quick, and a few seasons they're quick and stuff like that, and all of a sudden they get slow. Sometimes it's bike, sometimes it's injury, sometimes it's psychological, but it's like after going through that, it's just like, you can have a bad few years of sometimes it's you mentally, sometimes it's the bike you're trying to sort out because it just doesn't feel right and stuff like that.
Man, but 4 years though, nah.
Yeah, no, it was
it's a long time, man.
No, it was. I mean, my injury was pretty bad. I lacerated my spleen and I got a screw in my wrist. So it took a while for my hand to get right to where I can ride the right way and stuff like that. So, but yeah, no, still, listen, finishing last is I don't care first time or 4 years later, it's never fun.
Yeah, it's not.
So
now, granted, I'm not last, like I'm next to last. Sometimes I
you
could beat I could beat one guy every time, but the other 20 ahead of me, nah. I ain't
right.
got
Yeah.
nothing
Oh
for
yeah.
him.
Yeah.
But
And
so
for me, I had to change it up a little bit as well and go to other tracks and stuff like that. But yeah, no, it's it's definitely nice to to be in the middle or the front of the pack than to
yeah,
be
it is.
than to be in the back. And but you could be up front for a little bit, and life happens. And Mark Marquez, as we'll talk about Moto GP a little bit. He suffered for a few years, and
True.
and until so it's very difficult, especially for that long of a period of time. So yeah, I get where you're coming from, and I think once you overcome all these things, it puts you in a different sphere. You know what I'm saying? Because now because you remember what it's like losing or struggling, right? I won't say losing. You're
Yeah.
struggling because
Nah, losing.
but you're
That's the
out
right
there trying
word,
to
bro.
do something, though. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you're
Yeah.
out there just trying to lose. It's just whether you don't feel it, the bike don't feel right. You don't. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think when you're out there. Well, in my case, when I was out there, I wasn't like, oh, I don't care. I'm just gonna hang out back here. You know what I'm saying? It just I couldn't. I didn't have a rhythm. You know what I'm saying? So
So my rhythm is off also. But with me, what I realized that I need a race to get better because so with track days, right?
yeah.
I could I go to a track day and I ride hard, feel like you got a gun to your face, you're just on the gas and braking hard, and you feel like like you're going fast, right?
Right.
And my lap times stay the same. But if I'm in a race, I always set my best times in races because I need like somebody to chase.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Well,
And then
yeah.
also,
You go ahead. Yeah.
now then also there's a different mindset with racing and track days, honestly.
There is definitely. I guess I'm more of a racer mindset because I've only done like 5 track days, 4 track days, in the 12 years of racing.
Wow, that's it? Really? Okay.
Yeah, no, yeah. I've been mostly. I started at the racetrack and was racing. You know, just been racing after that, and I might have
Okay.
taken some classes at Penguin on the day before the race weekend kind of thing. But I'm racing that weekend, and
Got it.
it was only till like 2019 is when I started doing track days.
Okay, got you.
Yeah. So and now I'm doing more, and now obviously I recognize how more important they are because you can't practice, and it's harder to practice in a race. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
it's
saying?
impossible.
Yeah,
It is.
so yeah, so for me now it's like I am doing more track days because that's where I need to get better and stuff like that. But yeah, no, for sure, it is a different mindset, and I didn't realize how much of a difference it was until I had Eli Block, who races in Motor America, but also club race, and for
Yeah.
him, he's like it's difficult for him to do both because he can't race like he races in Motor America when he's at the club because we don't race like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So for him, it's like trying to make that transition. I'm not saying this. I'm not putting. I hope I'm not putting words in his mouth saying it's hard, but he just pointed out like, yeah, there's a difference because if there's an opening in Moto America, he got to take it. If it's an open
Yeah.
in club racing, but it ain't really, you don't know how you're going to turn out on the other side. You might wait till there's an opportunity where it's much safer. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, getting
Okay.
your mind to that point to be like a killer is different because you can't have that. You can't be a killer in club racing because we're all out here just trying to have fun.
No, I disagree.
Okay.
Why
All
not?
right.
Like I mean, my thing is if you're in Moto GP, Moto America, or let's say Wera, you're trying to win a race. So why can't you be a killer?
Well,
If there's a small gap, why not take it in either class, in either level? Because if you aren't taking that, then why be out there? Seriously.
I can only speak for myself, right? Because
Okay.
for me, yeah, there's a lot of times I could pass people and I don't in the corners because I want us to go home at the end of the day, right?
Understood.
And so for me, that's that reason. Now, if I know I can make that space that's there, then I'm gonna take it. You know what I'm saying? If I'm 100% confident in what I'm doing, I'm taking it. If I'm unsure, I'm not gonna gamble. I guess that's the difference. You know what I'm saying? It's
Okay.
like,
But that's every class though. You should
for
have
sure,
things that way.
for
If
sure.
it's
Yeah.
unsafe, don't take it. Right.
Right. You should, but
But
there's some people that are riding outside of their skill set. right?
Okay.
Right. So that's just more like if you're riding within your skill set, then chances are you're always gonna, unless obviously we're not perfect, right? But for the most part, we're always going to do the right thing if we're riding within our skill sets. Is when we start to get that 95% of our skill set, 98 to 100%. Now our consistency comes down, right?
Okay.
You know what I'm
So
saying?
my last race, I was riding probably a little bit like out of my skill set last race because I ran off the track twice. So, but luckily I ain't crashed and I ain't making anybody else crash. Luckily, so but I ran off twice.
Yeah, so that's all I'm just saying. So that's, but I get what you're saying, but you know what I'm saying, like I said, for me, the risk versus, and again, I can only speak for myself, and that's why I'm down into the RC 390 class, the smaller classes where it's just less of, it's less of, I don't, I'm not gonna, in the middleweight class, the 1,000, the big class, people are gonna come in, and if you give them an open, they're taking it. You know that, like that's gonna happen. So, you know what I mean. So, but yeah, it's different for everyone. I think if I was a lot younger, I'm not going to be speaking like I'm speaking right now. If I was in my 20s, I'm a killer regardless if I'm racing an old lady down the street.
Right, right. And not saying that I'm a killer, but if I see any kind of gap I feel I could take it, I'm gonna try.
Right.
And it could be a little sketchy, but we're racing. And my thing is, if you don't want to take those passes and you want to be, like too cautious, then do track days.
Right. Well, yeah, there is.
You enjoy riding.
Well,
right.
There's that, but you're just gonna take. You're not gonna gain a position, right? And you might lose a position because somebody's hunting you down too, right? So
yeah, and it happens. Yeah.
So but you know what I'm saying though. So it is. I think and I think that's the level of racing that's different because for some folks it is, and I don't necessarily want to say they're always on smaller bikes, but the people that don't want to necessarily get tangled up are usually on the smaller bikes, and the people that don't necessarily care, but want to be in that position, they're generally on the bigger bikes, and I see that on race days and stuff like that.
Understood. Okay, fair enough.
But at the end of the day, don't get me wrong. If I'm feeling it, I'm going for it. So, but I'm not.
Hey, tell you what though.
Say again.
No, go ahead.
No, so if I'm feeling good and I'm going for it, you know what I mean. Like that's definitely a given. But I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna take someone out or want to take someone out in the process. But if I'm feeling it, I'm gonna make the right decisions anyway. So,
gotcha.
But yeah, but that also took a while to get there because, like I said, I was in the back for a while. So even passing people and pushing to that's also, I mean, it's, for the last few years, I've done decent, winning some championships and stuff like that. But it's still like, there's definitely like, I need to pass people sooner because obviously, like you say, if you don't pass, you're stuck behind people, and then you're fighting with people in 6th, 7th, 8th, where you probably could be fighting up front, but just because, in my case, not taking those opportunities when they're there. Now it's taking me another lap because obviously you can't pass in every turn. You know what I'm saying? So there's turns.
Yeah.
That you can. Oh, you can.
I said I could, but in my mind, I could.
Okay. Well,
let me stop.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
It's like a bad for racing.
If you can, if it's every turn, man, that's very good.
All right, maybe not every turn though, but
because I was gonna say, man, every turn that's pretty like, man, and don't get me wrong, I'm pretty sure like Moto GP, Moto America, all these high skill level. I'm like, I started riding late in life, so if I started riding, I'm saying it would be different. But yeah, I'm pretty sure there are people who are skilled riders that they can pass whenever they want to pass, especially on the club racing level.
So tell you what, so based on that, last year, but I ran a track day at Barber, right?
Okay.
And sometimes they have like pro racers there, just getting their bike, ready for the race,
right,
things like that, or testing, right? So you have track day riders on the track at the same time as pro racers, and there's a huge skill gap. Like in my mind, I'm freaking head down, freaking throttle full, freaking put a full stop, going fast as I can, and dude just blows by me like I'm standing like how is that even possible, right? but I see him pass people at spots I didn't think passing was possible.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like, so with the right skill, it's possible, man. Every turn.
Yeah. For sure. With the right skill, yeah,
Right.
for sure. My lighting is jacking up right now, but that's fine. We'll make it work. It's definitely up to the individual as far as and their skill set and stuff like that. But that's the beauty of it. When you go out to the racetrack, you're always trying to get better and get quicker and all that stuff. So all of us are in different spaces, and it's like seeing the fast guys and women is cool because you see what's capable. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
And that kind of thing, and also just riding more because again, the more you ride, the better you get and stuff like that. So and for me, like I said, I've gotten past that stage of being stuck in the back, but nonetheless, it does happen, and you don't regardless if it's physical or mental or the bike. It can happen again.
No, for me, it's just lack of experience. You know what I'm saying? That's all it is. So I need more seat time. That's it.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's the thing. It really is. You do have to be on if you really have to be on I don't want to say every day, but you probably have to be on
every
bike
week,
at
a
least
lot.
4 to 5 days a week. For several hours a day, kind of thing. So that where your muscle memory, you don't have to worry about that. You just go and it works.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So now for you, getting back into track riding and also racing, and where you are right now. Now, do you find that you're trying to, race around 10 rounds a year? What's that like as far as like, how often do you get to the track and do track days and that?
Maybe between 8 and 10. So this year I'm doing 5 races, but 2 days each. And to me, that's 10 days.
Right.
So 10 races. So about that.
Nice. And are you planning to leave the Honda at any time, like Marquez or?
Nah, I've been Honda since I could think back. First bike was a Honda. All my kids had Honda CRF 50s. Wow. I had a CR 125 when they rode around. Okay. So
now
I have.
Now, what made you go with Honda as a brand? And then decide not to get any other brand, because don't you want to get a Ducati or a BMW or?
Nah, not even. So what? Okay, so why I'm freaking pro Honda?
Yes.
The bandwagon boys.
Yeah.
So back in 01, so my first bike, and the Arion Honda. Remember them?
Arion?
Nicky Hayden.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. It was Nicky Hayden and Curtis Roberts was teammates back then. This is probably 01, 2000, around that time frame.
Right.
Because back then, I want to say Hayden raced the F4.
Okay.
And I kind of watched a couple racing back then. Okay, you know what? He won. I like Hondas. That was it. And it stuck. Huh. So because of Nicky Hayden, that's why.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And wow. And so have you ridden any other bikes besides a Honda, even though you haven't owned one?
Nah, not even.
Okay.
I never rode a Yamaha, Kawasaki. But you know what? I'm lying. Man, this is a funny story now. So back in the military, right? This is before I got my bike.
Yep.
I learned to ride on like a Honda Shadow, right? Little small, I think it was like a Honda Shadow, like it was like a real small bike, but it was easy to ride. And first time got on it, gave it gas, went, and this ain't hard to ride a bike at all. And so now I rode around, the base a little bit for like 10 minutes, gave dude back his keys.
Mm-hmm.
So now, like in my mind, I can ride a bike. So now fast forward maybe 2 weeks later, my other homeboy got a brand new Kawasaki ZX-9R.
Okay.
I'm like, yeah, I can ride, right? I get on the bike, I give it the same amount of gas, like I gave the Honda Shadow,
right?
Which is probably half throttle. I dumped the clutch probably a little bit too quickly. That shit wheelie, and not a good wheelie, kind of like a nose up wheelie. I'm all wobbling. Yeah. Next thing you know, I fall. I'm under a truck. Total dude's brand new bike, man.
Oh man.
So yeah. Terrible, man. I crashed a lot.
Well, I mean, I crashed a lot too, but it was always my bike.
No, it wasn't my bike at all. I was,
oh man.
yeah, 20 years old. I don't know, dumb at 20. So
it happens, man.
It does. So.
But it's cool because you're still riding. Like I said, some people will get in a bad situation on a bike and they don't ride again, and swear it off. Now, when Marquez decided to leave Honda, I mean, were you? How did you take that? Were you burning his jersey? I mean, you know.
Nah, not at all, because I like Mark and I felt bad he was losing, so I kind of wanted to see him get a better bike.
Okay.
So, like, you know what? I hope it works out for him, and it has worked out for him. So.
Right. Well, yes. After the news of him getting the factory seat, you know. So, you know, and I know we have talked off air and stuff like that. I'm not exactly excited that he got it.
Yeah.
You know,
he was hoping to went to Martin, right?
I wanted him to stay with Bastianini. I wanted them to stay with Bastianini.
That's right. Okay, got it.
But Martin was riding better than Bastianini. But just the fact that both of them been on the bike longer than Marquez. Granted, he just showed up and he's still not riding the bike like it should be ridden and doing what he's doing. And you know, after talking to some people, I get it from a marketing standpoint. And you know, Marquez is going to sell more Ducatis than Jorge Martin or Bastianini at this point. You know what I mean? So, I got to assume. So now, are you gonna be Team Ducati now, or like, you know, is it a struggle?
I'm so Honda red anyway, so I ain't gonna change, man. It's in my blood now. So. And funny thing, next year I do want to get, you know, like a bigger bike, so I'll probably get a 5-blade next year. So
okay, yeah, you know, I will say, I mean, I guess the Hondas have been struggling in general, but the Fire Blades, from what I can tell from World Superbike and BSB and stuff like that, those bikes they're going to be pretty close to competing up front. You know, probably within the next, I got to say, year or so, because Ika Lukuono and those guys, you know, they're like top 8, top 10 riders right now.
Right. Well, and BSB is still doing pretty good with Tommy Bridwell. And then over here, Hayden Gillum, he's leading the stock thing champion, stock 1,000 championship. So, okay. On that CBR. So
right. So now you're gonna so would you get what is it, the double R RSP
triple R, get it right.
RSP?
Yes, that's the plan for next year. So my plan, you know, for me is buy that bike, let's say late this year or early next year, 25, when it comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Track days only, no racing. Do a year track days, probably 10 track days on that bike. And then in 26, race that bike. That's the plan. So
okay, that's what's up. That's a good plan. I think we may have similar plans. I'm definitely looking to do a new race bike for next year. Well, I guess I might do track days on it, but I'm gonna just, you know, spend some time really getting comfortable with it, and then
what kind of bike? Ducati V4?
No, I wish.
What kind of Gali?
I wish. I'm RS 660. You know. So
okay.
Yeah. No. So yeah. No, I'm not. You know, I don't know if I would even race a Ducati.
One crash.
Yeah, exactly.
You see dollar signs going up.
I've seen some Ducatis getting mangled on the track.
Understood.
So I'm just like, you know, every time my R6 have crashed, like I can still ride it back and just change some, you know, bar ends and a windshield, and I'm good to go. You know, probably the RS 660. And then hopefully to do some races in that on that bike, probably if not next year, the year after, but hopefully next year. We'll see what the rest of this year look like. If you know, I've been feeling pretty good. You know, I'm probably the fastest I've been since I've been racing and stuff like that. So you know, we'll see. You know, it's one thing to get the bike and stuff like that. It's another thing to be competitive. So it's just like I don't want to hang out at the back of the pack anymore. So
correct.
You know, it's like, okay, all right. As long as I could be competitive with track times and stuff like that, and that's the goal. Is just trying to get it next year, visit some tracks that I do want to race at, maybe do track days at those tracks, and get my times down to where they're competitive before I go race that bike. Got
it. So I kind of feel you. So I don't want to be the guy with a nice, shiny, new, fast bike. Still the back of the pack, you know, because like, to be honest, like why spend 30 grand on a bike if you're in the back? It's like, come on, man. But
Well,
still,
yeah, I
I
mean,
want the bike.
yeah, it's but being at the back is not up to the bike. So,
I know it's me, but
so
it's like think back, to being kids. Like you're at the park, right?
yeah,
There comes some kid with the new Jordans on, the new basketball shorts, the jersey on, and dude can't play a lick of ball, man. It's like,
right,
come on, dog.
yeah.
That would be like on the bike, So
No, listen, I feel you. No, I
Mhm.
feel you. It's like struggling like on a like foot race, whatever sports, whatever. I wasn't at the back of the pack. This was like the only thing. So it's not like I know what it's like growing up. And I used to do street racing in cars and stuff like that. And
Okay.
I like. I can still remember the two people that's beating me in a car, right? Everybody else, it's
What'd
so.
you have? What kind of car?
A Volkswagen Golf GTI 16 valve that souped up and
Okay.
stuff like that. Then I built a A1 Golf. I put a not Golf Jetta. I put a 16 valve engine in an A1 84 A1 Jetta, like
Okay,
full
gotcha.
exhaust, straight pipes, nuts. So so like yeah, so struggling and racing in a motorcycle like that wasn't I didn't struggle, in other things that I've done like struggling in the motorcycle. So that's all new to me as well.
Okay.
But you're absolutely right. It's kind of like you don't want to. I don't care what kind of bike it is, but you don't want to be at it's never fun hanging out at the back.
Right.
So hopefully when you get the SP, you'll be in the middle of the pack and
Hope so, man. That's the
so.
plan. So we'll see.
Yeah, and and with some of these clubs where it's where your grid position is based on track time, it's it makes a big difference. It makes a difference when you're starting at the back versus the front as well. So
Right.
it's really just depends on where you're going. But yeah, if you're doing qualifying times, you can qualify well enough that you're in the middle of the pack, then it's a whole different race. So.
True.
So yeah, and would that be a brand new bike you build from scratch? How much of it? How much are you gonna build it the bike out? I mean, like all the way out, suspension, the whole nine, or
But that bike comes pretty solid. So it comes with Olin's front and rear. So I mean, to be honest, the bike needs nothing at all except me to ride it. That's it. So
gotcha. So just some adjustments, probably maybe a full exhaust and
yeah, probably rear sets, clip-ons, body work. That's it.
okay.
So
Yeah, it crossed my mind, man. Those big bikes. Don't get me wrong. We'll see. I mean, I might do track days and but man, that's it's a lot of you got to be in pretty good shape to muscle them bikes around for 8 to 10 laps for a few rounds.
right.
So, but
And then also, but I'm a heavy guy too, so I need like a bigger bike. So.
yeah,
Or
I can see that.
Or I'm just lying to myself, to get one. So,
Well, I think at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter, right? Because
right.
when they in the classes they teach you to ride at your own pace. So at the end of the
Correct.
day, it really, regardless if it's a RC or 1,000, as they say, you're in control of the throttle. So it really doesn't. It's what you're comfortable with, and your progression is up to you. As I think, as long as we're out there riding and racing, that's the biggest part. Because at the end of the day, when the day's over and you're packing up and you're riding home, you I can't speak for everyone, but I'm thinking about my weekend and
Right.
and
Okay.
you know what I'm saying, and having fun and looking forward to the next weekend. What I'm saying, that I can go
Likewise.
back out. So I think at the end of the day, that's what matters the most. But when you're winning, obviously that's icing on the cake.
Got it.
So nice. Wow, Honda forever. So now let's talk a little bit more about Moto GP. Jorge Martin, he went over to Aprilia.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen?
And I called that. Remember, man, last week.
Yeah, you did call it.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I was talking to one of my buddies earlier, and do you think Martin jumped the gun and signed into Aprilia, or he already knew that it was going to Mark and he just needed to go somewhere else?
I think he knew it was going to Mark anyway. Because what happens, let's say the past couple of days of Mark signs here and he signs there, I'm pretty sure in the weeks prior they knew anyway.
Right.
They know things way before we do. So say he jumped the gun. I mean, and you got to think last year he thought the ride was his.
Yeah.
But Thing got it. Bastianini got it.
Right.
So then he gets, you get passed over twice by the car. It's like, you know what? Fuck you guys. You know what I'm saying? I'm out.
Yeah, I think so. And it's I don't know how quickly he's gonna get up to speed on that bike. I mean, granted, and the season is still pretty early. We're not even halfway through the season yet. Do you think that's going to affect his psyche at all? Do you think he's going to just be like, whatever, I don't care, I'm not going to give these dudes a title and just kind of just phone it in?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Good question. I mean, you have nothing to lose, right?
It could be grudgmental. You could just disgruntle. Like, why do I want to give them a title? I mean, granted, he's hurting himself, but
he is. And to be honest, but it kind of goes back to our talk. Well, this same talk now, but let's backtrack 20 minutes. If you're out there in your mind, you're trying to do the best you can.
Right.
You aren't holding back,
right?
And it's hard to hold back.
It is.
So I don't see him saying, yeah, you know what, being that next year I'm not here, why let them win? No, I'm trying to win for myself, not Ducati.
Right. But what about the risk? You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, I know do you think he may want to save his body for when he gets on a Aprilia where he got a 2-year deal and possibly options to be the guy for, until he decides to retire? Or you really, or he think no matter what, he's just going to lay it on the line. And, if anything happens to him this year, he'll just deal with it at the end of the year.
Lay it out, because that's a racist mentality.
Okay.
And that's what he is.
Right. Well, just to point out, Vinales, he tried to blow that engine up.
True. Yeah, I guess, man.
I'm just
saying. I remember that. He got fired. Okay, fair enough.
You're supposed to do it at this time? I thought you could rep the engine whenever. I don't think he was trying to destroy the engine. I think he might have just been mad and just twisting the throttle out. I don't know, man. I remember as a kid, on BMX trying to get certain things, and I couldn't do it, and I'll just let the bike go, just let it just crash or whatever. You just get fed up type of thing. Not necessarily saying, oh, I'm trying to destroy my bike, so I never use it again.
But you were a kid. Yeah, he's a grown man.
Yeah, well, he's a kid. He's a kid. He's now 27. Nah. He's like 24, 5 when it happened. We're just at
Okay.
Yeah, he's still
I'll give him a pass.
Yeah, he's not 30. He's you know what I'm saying? I think he was at the age where I think if he could take that back, I don't think he would do that the same thing again. Okay. I don't think that was his I don't believe that he was trying, because we've yet to see somebody do that and blow an engine.
True.
Okay. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I just thought he might have just been just pissed and just grabbed a handful of throttle. And it's in neutral. It's not like he grabbed a handful of, well, I don't know if it's in neutral, but it wasn't, the bike didn't go anywhere. He just banged off the rev limiter, right?
Kind of like road rage almost,
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So, but he never came out and said he was literally trying to destroy the engine. They just said, hey, he was trying, that couldn't destroy the engine. So, which, you know what I'm saying? Like it, as much as those guys are banging off the rev limiter anyway.
Okay.
Right.
Fair enough.
But that. Yeah. So, so that's all. I just wonder because, I was talking to, one of my other friends, he was just kind of like, well, they probably signed Mark because, the 850cc bikes is coming. So it's going to be a new, bike anyway for 2027. So Mark probably got a good 2 years in him. Not necessarily like he's going to stay with Ducati for 6 to 8 more years, being 30 and stuff like that. So it's I don't know if they'll ever say why. Maybe later in years they may talk about what happened in 2024 and why they chose Marquez over Bastianini or Martin. But you got guys 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you're saying, okay, I'm gonna take the guy that's number 3 over the guy that's number 4, and I'm not gonna take the guy that's number 2. It's like splitting hairs.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But like I said, I think the lack of loyalty on Ducati's part, and they have shown loyalty in the past. So I'm not going to sit here and say they haven't. But it's like Bastianini, I believe, up until this point, I think he rode well enough to still deserve that seat. But maybe, like I said, Marquez probably offers them, like, there's a lot of Hondas out there, and I'm pretty sure Marquez had some doing with selling some of those Hondas. And I think, Ducati probably want some of those sales, I think.
True.
So
I can see that. Because my thing is, those guys are in it to make money, the companies, right?
Yeah. Go ahead.
And my theory, it's made two ways: through race wins and popularity via your riders selling bikes. And I think Marquez brings that much of that part to the team. So,
Correct. So I think, from a business perspective, it makes sense.
Correct.
And speaking of businesses, you do also have a school that you're offering to young folks that are looking to get into riding. You want to talk a little bit about that?
So that school kind of goes back to my thought process of how I learned about bikes. So back when I was a kid, I just saw guys having fun on the street, being reckless, right? And I thought that was, that's what bikes were. But dirt bikes and little kids on 50s, to me that was something I never thought about. So basically, my kids rode when they were younger, because later on I got a better job and got them dirt bikes and had a whole lot of fun doing that. And I'm trying to bring that same thing to kids now.
Right.
Kind of, because for a kid to ride a bike, it's expensive. You got to buy a bike that's probably going to be $1,000 for a used one nowadays. Right. You got to buy the helmet, the gear, the boots, all that stuff. Right. And then let's say you have a car. Okay, then you need a truck to pull the bike.
Right.
So now you're talking about $5 to $10,000 to invest in a 6-year-old kid, and he may not even like it next year.
Oh, listen, I got instruments that my daughter doesn't play now.
Right. So my thing is, I have the bikes, I have the helmets, the gear. So you bring your kid who, to come to my, environment to ride. I'll show them how to, use the brakes, use the throttle, turn, and use your eyes, and show them how to ride a bike. And then you just go home. And it's and like, you aren't spending $10,000, you spend a couple hundred, and you get a full day of riding and coaching by me and my staff.
Nice. And
so that's the smush.
Go continue.
Go ahead.
I was going to ask you, how can people find you and get in contact with you, which is the same as find you?
Oh, my website, smithshotracing.com, or Instagram, Smith Shot Racing, same thing, and that's it.
There you go, people.
But the only thing, it's local to, my area, which is Atlanta. Right, that's where my school is at.
So for the folks in the area, definitely reach out to him, because that's awesome, man, because that is a big problem. I think that if, there was more opportunities for kids in the inner city or inner cities to get bikes, or get their own bikes, or get a bike and go play in the dirt, or go play in a safe space, there'll be less young kids on the street riding, because, they'll wait till the weekend and go riding, because they know they're going to have more fun.
Correct.
And so, that's pretty dope, man. And hopefully that's something that can spread, across this country for sure.
Yeah, I'm trying. So, my thing is just trying to build a passion to these kids that I had when I was a kid.
Right.
That's it. So
nice. That's pretty dope, man, for sure. Now, is that something you do kind of like all year round? Is it over the summer?
Mainly during spring, summer, and fall. Okay. I take a break because it's cold.
Right.
Some kids don't want to ride when it's cold. So spring, summer, and fall, basically.
The kids in Boston are like, we'll come down in January.
Right, I know. So that's it.
No doubt.
And it's all dirt bikes.
Oh man, that's what's up, man. That's a good idea, man. And we'll continue to try to spread the love here, because, like I say, it's needed, and it would be nice to see local officials and mayors and stuff. They talk about wanting to get kids off the streets and the dirt bikes, and the residents are complaining about that. And the easiest thing is just build a dirt bike park, build a small track, you can get EMT. There's plenty of grants out there and stuff like that.
Right.
This could be in a year or two, the streets could be quiet in the summertime, and kids are having a ball.
That's the plan. So
definitely. Well, man, I want to thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. Keep doing what you're doing, and hopefully I will see you at the racetrack.